Let's solve some MCQs based on matrices. Now the first question is asking which of the following statement is not true. Now there are four options given, there are four statements. We have to identify which is not true, that is same as which is false. Now before we answer this question, because the question is about types of matrices, let's revise the types of matrices. First we have row and column matrices. So a row matrix will have a single row. So this is a row minus 503. This is aligned, this is written in one row, and there are three columns minus 5, 0 and 3. There are three columns. So a row matrix will have one single row and it can have many columns. And a column matrix will have a single column but it can have many rows. Now the next type of matrix is a zero or a null matrix, where we see that if I have all the elements in the matrix 0, it is known as a zero matrix or null matrix. So it can have any rows, any number of columns, but as long as all the elements are 0, it is called a zero or null matrix. Now the next type of classification of matrices is whether it's a square or a rectangular matrix. For a square matrix, we will have the number of rows. Let's say here we have two rows and we have two columns. So when the number of rows and the number of columns are equal, it's a square matrix. And if they are not equal, we will have a rectangular matrix. For example, here we have two rows, but we have three columns. So this becomes a rectangular matrix. Now, a square matrix can be again of different types. If you add some special property to a square matrix, we will have another type of matrix. So for example, if I take a square matrix and let's say that I have elements along this diagonal. This diagonal is known as the principal diagonal or the leading diagonal. And suppose here the elements that we see are 2 and minus 1 and they are not equal to 0, but all the other elements in this square matrix, so this element and this element, they are 0. So whenever we have a square matrix where the elements in the principal or leading diagonal is non-zero but all the other elements are 0, that is known as a diagonal matrix. And if I further classify a diagonal matrix, if I make it again something special, for example, the elements in the principal diagonal is equal to 1. It will be exactly equal to 1 and all the other elements in the square matrix will be equal to 0. Then that is known as an identity matrix or a unit matrix. So I can say that identity matrix is a diagonal matrix and a square matrix. Diagonal matrix is a square matrix. So they are just classification of square matrices. Now if I look at all the options, I will see that the first option, all identity matrices are square matrix. This is true. If I look at the third option, option C, for a square matrix, number of rows is equal to number of columns. That is also definitely true. And option D, a square matrix, all of whose elements except those in the leading diagonal are 0. Elements except in the leading diagonal is 0 is called a diagonal matrix. That is also true. That's the definition of a diagonal matrix. So only thing which is not true is option number B. So all null matrices are square matrix. It's not necessary. A null matrix can be square or rectangular. As long as all the elements are 0, it will be still known as a null matrix. So only option B is not true. Hence my correct answer for this question is option B.